Title: Bridge Under Fire, Eastern Ukraine, July. The main bridge across the river had been destroyed by an airstrike 3 days ago, twisted rebar sticks out of the water, and on both shores, smoldering ruins. There's only one hope left: a makeshift pontoon crossing hastily assembled overnight by engineering troops. The evacuation and defense of the crossing were entrusted to Colonel Petrenko. He's 48 years old, gray at the temples, with the firm voice and gaze of someone who has seen far too much. Under his command, about 30 soldiers, an armored vehicle, 2 anti-tank missile systems, a pair of mortars, and a mobile communication post. Their mission: hold the bridgehead until the evacuation of the local population from the right bank is complete. The morning began tensely. Drones reported movement of an enemy column from the northeast. Petrenko immediately issued orders: camouflage the positions, ready the ATGMs, and accelerate the evacuation. People were arriving in streams, women with children, the elderly, young men, some even with pets. Boats and pontoon sections worked non-stop. A hum of tension hung over the water. Around 10 a.m., the first shot. An enemy tank tried to roll up to the bridge but was spotted. The ATGM crew, call sign Pheasant, launched a missile straight at its front. Explosion! The tank's turret was blown off. People standing on the shore cheered, but the joy didn't last long. 5 minutes later, 2 IFVs with infantry emerged from the tree line. Battle erupted. The mortar teams opened fire, covering the enemy's advance. Petrenko personally adjusted fire, standing beside the signal operator. Bullets whistled. Grenades exploded overhead. One of the IFVs tried to flank. A young soldier, nicknamed Musician, crawled closer with an RPG and, risking his life, fired. Direct hit. The IFV burst into flames. The second tried to retreat, but was caught in a mortar barrage and set ablaze. "Hold your positions," Petrenko shouted. "Evacuation continues." Enemy reconnaissance drones reappeared over the river, but one was shot down by machine gun fire. The last groups of civilians rushed to the bridge. Petrenko helped an elderly woman across the shaky pontoon, carrying her bag himself. By noon, only 10 people remained to be evacuated. One of the engineers, despite being concussed, continued monitoring the pontoon's stability. Enemy fire began to subside. They had lost their vehicles and were retreating. When the last child reached the safe side, Petrenko climbed into the armored vehicle and gave the order to withdraw. Mission accomplished. A day later, the General Staff report read, "In eastern Ukraine, near the destroyed bridge, Ukrainian forces under Colonel Petrenko evacuated over 200 civilians and repelled an enemy attack, destroying 1 tank and 2 IFVs. To most, it was just a line in the report. But for those who stood on the shore, it was life returned once more.